and welcome again to another tutorial video of basic fishing. In this video, I'll be showing you a basic way on how to get started on lure fishing and hopefully help you to get started on learning a new form of fishing. I hope you learn a thing or two in this video, and I also hope you enjoy watching this video on lure fishing. To start things off, I'll discuss the basics on lure fishing. Unlike bait fishing that I usually do, which is rigging up a ledger rig or running rig, depending on the condition, using different baits and waiting for a random fish species to bite at the bait, lure fishing is a different style of fishing as you are working hard to try and mimic an injured bait fish, hoping that a predatory fish will come along and strike at it. It's very energetic, difficult, but really addictive and fun way of catching fish. You can also easily catch a feeder fish using lures alone. Benefits on using lures is that it allows you to catch specific species of fish that enjoys chasing lures, whether it is a trout, perch, or kahawai. Another benefit is that while you wait for the baits to get bitten by a big fish, you can have fun spinning for some fish that is close up. For me, I never got to experience the thrill of lure fishing at a young age because I never understood how it all worked and which proper gear to use for lure fishing. I was introduced to lure fishing from a friend who told me about his first experience at Lake Pupuki. Ever since I experienced my first lure fish caught, which was a perch, I wanted to learn more about lure fishing. Some days it is hard work doing lure fishing, but all that is forgotten when you hooked onto a fish, and every time a fish slams the lure, it's the most exciting moment. To start things off, I'll show you the gear that I started off as well as show the specific gear that is required to be able to do some lure fishing. The gear that I recommend is ideal to use especially when the fishing is hard. Sure, when there is a solid work carp and the fish biting really hard, the kahawai will go for anything. It's usually when the fishing is hard or situational that the specific gear makes a huge difference between catching a fish or getting skunked for the whole day. This setup is what I used ever since I got drawn into lure fishing. For its price, this was a good quality rod as it had good stiffness to it that allowed casting small lures possible. The rod is made of composite graphite, which is light, and the rod was 3 to 6 kilo, 6 feet 6 inches long. The reel was small and light, plus the rod as well, which made lure fishing very comfortable. I then upgraded my lure fishing to a more specific type of gear. This reel had a smooth drag, which is important if you hook onto a large fish. You really need a smooth drag to allow full contact with the fish at the end of your line. The rod is made out of graphite and is an 8-foot rod, which allows me to achieve good distance. The gear I got is not just good for lure fishing but also other styles of fishing as well. For example, I was even able to use my 7-foot rod that I normally use for trout fishing on parori fishing as well. Whenever I use mono, I like to use 6-pound line as the diameter allows me to spool enough line onto a 2500 reel and also enables me to cast my lure out really far without any trouble. For braid, I like to use the same diameter as a 6-pound mono because although it is really thin, it has a higher breaking strain, and I also attach 3 meters of fluorocarbon leader to create a gap between the braid and the lure. I recommend most beginners to start with mono, as braid can be challenging to use at first. There are many lures to pick from, and it's so easy to get overwhelmed and pick the wrong one. You really only need a few lures to start things off. This hex wobbler is one of the most universal lures, as you can use this for both saltwater and freshwater. It's a simple, small, shiny lure that can imitate anything from a small minnow, whitebait, pilchard, or anchovy. They also come in different sizes as well, but I prefer to use 10 grams for freshwater and 15 grams for saltwater. For freshwater, I personally prefer to use small lures, as most freshwater species are small and trouts also have small mouths too. Here I had this trout follow my 10-gram spoon, but the problem was that it was too big for the trout and it just kept on following it, whereas the 10-gram hex wobbler was small enough for this trout to slam at it. For freshwater, there are spoons, spinners, and rapalas to pick from, and you'll catch perch and trout with these easily. Although I did manage to catch a rod on a rapala, which was very unusual. For saltwater, either the hex wobbler or a fish-shaped jig is a great lure to use for kahawai. When I pick my lures, I try to pick the smallest one as possible, as kahawai's natural prey are small fish. This 15-gram jig is my most favorite lure to use for kahawai, and honestly, you don't need any other lures to start things off. Not only is it shaped like a fish, but it also has great movement in the water, flashes really well, and the size matters what the kahawai preys on. The fact that it's also silver means that it allows it to be universal, meaning that this lure can be anything from a whitebait, pilchard, or anchovy. Kahawais are really fussy and they prefer to snap up small fish instead of chasing a big, chunky lure, which is why using small lures is quite important when lure fishing for kahawai, but even that doesn't stop the small kahawais from chasing a big lure. So many people will ask, what species will I be able to catch with lure fishing? For freshwater, you'll catch rainbow trout, brown trout, and the redfin perch. For saltwater, you'll catch kahawai. Now that you've got the setups, people will also ask where to go to start fishing. The East Coast beach is a perfect place to start for lure fishing, as there are many kahawais hiding behind the waves. Beach that has stream mouths or river mouth is also a good place to target kahawai, as they will linger around snatching any small baitfish that is coming out from the mouth and drifting through the strong current. Also look for bird activities, as they are indicators on where the kahawais will be, like these terns for example. They are diving for baitfish that are driven up to the surface by the kahawai. For freshwater, that really depends on where you are. There are a few stock lakes where you are able to target for trouts, or even some rivers and streams. But remember to get a license for freshwater fishing, as trouts and perch are game fish. License is required if you wish to fish for them. Here are some extra tips and tricks I like to share with lure fishing. I personally prefer that you remove the treble hooks and replace them with singles. For spinners or hex wobblers, these hooks here are ideal to use, but for jigs and rapalas, you need inline hooks, as this will ensure that the lures will swim properly. I personally think that inline hooks give you a better hookup, plus it doesn't catch everywhere, unlike a treble hook. The damage that treble hooks can do is horrible, and most treble hooks are horrible quality as well, so I prefer to take them out and replace them with good quality inline hooks. Another tip I like to share is the cast and retrieving. After casting out as far as you need, vary your retrieve speed and methods. For me, I like to put up a constant speed on my retrieve, just to allow the lure to swim naturally. Some people like to add a pause in their retrieve to make it look like the bait fish is injured. And if one spot doesn't work, remember that you will be able to walk all along the beach to find new areas to find the fish as well. I hope everyone enjoyed watching this video, and I hope this helped those who are keen on starting on lure fishing, whether it is on freshwater or saltwater. If you have liked this video, please leave a like and subscribe for more fishing videos. Again, thank you for watching, and I hope to see you guys next time.